Good afternoon. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast at thenewscasters.com. And if you would like for me to do a little bit of research for you on a particular topic for the show, I'll be glad to do it. I really love research. Send an email with your suggestions to donna@donnasedge.com. That's donna@donnasedge.com. Again, thank you so much for watching. One topic sent in was about this. A lot of commercials on television, radio, whatever, are about people who want to buy your house. So what's the big deal about that? Never happened before. And you see a lot of folks saying they'll take any kind of house, whatever you've got, they'll just get rid of it. Is that a good thing to do? I haven't necessarily talked with someone, but I have done a little bit of research on the internet, and I came across a real good one. And I think it's from a very reliable source, realestate.usnews.com. That's realestate.usnews.com. And they have some really fascinating possibilities. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. So we're going to dig in just a little bit, just to kind of sort our curiosity about this trend. I'm interested myself. What you need to know about those companies that buy houses. So that's the title. And there's a variety of companies investors will pay cash fast for your home. Is it the right choice for you? I'll just go on to say that in a transit area like Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw a lot of people when we were living there and relocating to the area. I don't know if you knew this, but Charlotte, North Carolina is actually the banking capital of the U.S. So a lot of executives were moving in. They were either renting or buying homes, and they could get transferred in any given minute. So that really helped the real estate market in that town until the crash hit. And so I can see where someone like that, maybe you're a banking executive or whatever executive, and you've moved into an area and you're apt to be transferred at any moment, or maybe you're in the military. And you know how it is in the military, you could be somewhere for 20 years, then 2 years could come out and they say, nah, we're going to send you somewhere else. So let's talk about this. So when you're ready to sell your home, the traditional method is to prepare the house, list it for sale with a real estate agent, and hope buyers will compete for a winning bid. That's the ideal way to do it, okay? And a monetary profit for you. But again, what if you got to get out and go somewhere else and you've got to be moved in 2 months? That could cause an issue, especially if you're in a weird economy like we're in right now. But if the traditional route doesn't appeal to you or your circumstances make it difficult, there are alternatives that allow you to still sell your home. In many cases, it involves selling your home to a company. While they may all seem similar on the surface, there are different types of companies, and we want to dig into this, that are interested in buying your home, often for cash and with a quick turnaround. We're breaking down the types of companies you may encounter and how they do business, as well as what you should factor in when you're considering selling your home to a company. Let's talk about, first of all, the type of companies that buy houses. My suggestion is find a good real estate agent first, and if that doesn't work out, then try this. But who knows, there's not a one-size-fits-all fix for everybody. So the companies that will buy your house from you are varied, but they have different methods of purchasing properties, as well as different motivations. And here are the 6 types of companies that could buy your house. Could be a franchise cash buyers, could be somebody who's thinking about maybe buying some land, or maybe they want to buy a bunch of old houses on an old part of town and they want to revitalize that town. Could be iBuyers. They just see you on the internet and they buy it. House flippers. A lot of people do that. They'll buy a house, they fix it up. We see a lot of TV shows about that. So they'll buy a house and then fix it up and then sell it to make a profit. Everybody's in business to make a profit. Buy and hold investors. Actually, an investor bought our home when we moved from Charlotte. And so it was for the strict purpose, he wanted homes that he could rent out to people who were moving in, high-ranking folks who maybe are working, say, in banking or whatever. and they're here for a couple of years and then they want to leave and they just want to rent homes. And the guy really liked our home because we lived in a cul-de-sac and it was very small, and the crime rate, there was just no crime in that part. So he actually offered us $5,000 more than we were asking for the price. So that turned out really good for us. Trade-in companies and lenders or brokers freeing up cash to encourage purchasers. And so it could be any one of those. I know in Huntsville there are several who are available who say they'll buy your home. My concern about that, and we're going to find out. That's why we're doing this, have this segment going right now. I'm wondering if they want to offer you a competitive rate when they're buying your home. So let's find out. Okay, now franchise cash buyers. And I think that's probably what we see on television and the radio. There are handfuls of national brands you may recognize that purchase homes for cash, which operate as franchises. This means the individual you're working with would be a local franchise, adding the benefit of local expertise. Someone who actually knows your market, someone who knows your area. That means the individual you're working at would be a local franchise, adding the benefit of local expertise. Some names you may recognize most are We Buy Ugly Houses. You see those signs. Could be Homevestors of America Incorporated, which is also a parent company of We Buy Ugly Houses. Now, WeBuyUglyHouses.com and Joe Homebuyer, we've seen those. Our typical focus is buying houses we either fix up and sell or we keep as rental properties, says Homevestors CEO David Hicks. He also knows that, as the We Buy Ugly Houses name illustrates, the focus is on purchasing a home as is and paying for it based on its current condition, especially if that means it needs some work. Now, reviews and reports across a variety of franchise buyers note that offers in this type of situation tend to be low. Now, that answers one of my questions. Often 50 to 70% of market value in exchange for a fast deal and cash payment. Our business is very stable and consistent because we're buying the older houses that need significant repair. And that is a thought. So if you don't have the money to fix up your house, this might be the best option for you because it costs a lot of money. What if electrical has to be done? Or what if it's an estate sale and maybe none of the kids live in the area? They don't want to mess with it, so they just want to do a quick sale on it. Hicks says, noting that many homeowners selling to Homevestors or We Buy Ugly Houses know their house needs significant updates in order to be on par with other homes in the neighborhood, but they don't have the resources to do it themselves. That'd be time or money. Again, that could be an estate sale. Maybe the parents or the grandparents lived in the house. That's what I was afraid was going to happen to this. That's why we moved down here and bought this house in Alabama. This was my grandparents' farm. Franchisee cash buyers will typically opt to work with local contractors to flip a property or keep it for rental income. Now, the franchises will then either pay a regular fee or portion of profits to the larger company, depending on the company, for the brand affiliation and also additional help as needed. Okay, now let's check with the time. Okay, we're still doing good. Okay, let's talk about iBuyers. Okay, what in the world is an iBuyers? Let's figure it out. In the past few years, companies known as iBuyers have become a more vocally present type of company offering to purchase homes for cash quickly, with a major focus being on the technology used to help validate or value a property complete the transaction. Now, Opendoor and OfferPad are the two most recognizable names currently operating in this category. These companies, which operate in a growing number of markets across the U.S., purchase homes that need very little work to be ready for the market, with the goal of turning around and selling it quickly for a higher price. The amount paid to the homeowner or the home seller tends to be higher than a cash buyer would pay for houses that need more work. But an iBuyer is involved in more transactions total by operating as a single company located across many markets. Okay, so in an up and down market, people still need to move, and we're focused on providing a seamless home buying and selling experience when it's right for them, wrote Kerry Melcher. He's head of the real estate for Opendoor for an email. People come to Open Door from all walks of life, whether they're downsizing for retirement, moving for a job, or they've outgrown their current home. But what they all have in common is the desire for a simpler, more certain real estate experience. Now, folks have to make a profit when they're in business. Okay, so think about this. Now, the changing housing market has proven tough for iBuyers, with both Zillow and Redfin opting to close their iBuyer operations within the next 2 years. Okay, more recently, both Open Door and OfferPad have reported major earning losses, $339 million in net revenue losses for Open Door in the fourth quarter of 2022, and $121.1 million in net revenue losses for OfferPad, offering the same type period. So what does that mean? Okay, so while it may not be encouraging for investors, it doesn't necessarily impact homeowners interested in exploring the alternative methods of selling a house. Both OfferPad and Open Door have scaled down the size of their operations. They're probably a little bit too big for the britches. Folks are finding that out with COVID. Also, while exploring other options that may resonate with the home buying and selling public. Now, Open Door, for example, has programs that partner with home builders to streamline the sale process of a new construction home, making it easier to have a real estate agent to take part in the sales process. Now, a listing option to receive both an offer and the opportunity to test out the market, and a marketplace where people can buy and sell homes directly as an alternative to the traditional real estate model. With 99% of real estate transactions still happening offline, that's been a trend. We view the traditional real estate transaction process as our competitor. So you folks who are out there and your real estate agents, I don't think you need to sweat. When the competitor, if you want to call them a competitor, is a little bit, saying that you're the competitor, that's a good thing, okay? That means that you're digging into their money, which is a good thing. Melcher says the traditional real estate process is time-consuming and complex. Consumers deserve a modern e-commerce experience that does suit their needs and their timelines. Okay, we have to go into a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Let's talk about house flippers. Phil have talked about this. If we were younger, that's probably what we would do. That would be a lot of fun.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I am your host for Donna's Edge talk show where truth matters, and we're digging into these. You can see a lot of commercials on television about, we buy your house, we buy ugly houses, this kind of thing. So let's find out what it's all about. I can see where this trend would work for a lot of folks. Let's just say it's an estate sale. All the kids live out of state except for one kid. There's always one that does everything, right, in every family. I'm that one. So let's just see. Let's think about this. So it's an estate sale. You've not been able to sell the house. All the other kids live out of state. You're the one who has to do everything. And they would give you, you would have to pay quite a bit. It would be traditionally more than if a real estate person had it, but it would free you up a lot of time. And they would be responsible for everything. I can see where that would work. Or maybe it's a home and more repairs than you could possibly do to the house. You got to have new wiring, got to have a new roof, got to have new this, got to have that. Plumbing, it's very expensive. I can see where that would work out. But I would still much rather have my real estate agent. So we're going to have, by the way, we're going to have a real estate agent on here from Etowah County, and we're going to be talking about that pretty soon. I'm just I can see some of it, but for the most part, let's stick with our local folks. Okay, house flippers. Okay, as I mentioned before we went into break, Phil and I had talked about this. How fun it would be if we were younger. I don't have time for it now with the show and everything, but I love decorating. And so we bought my grandparents' house. Phil is doing a lot of the work here, and it has been something else. But I'll have to say, if we were younger, I would do that. So this is where you buy a house, you fix it up, just like you see on some of the TV shows, and then they flip it for a profit. The only thing is, if something happens to the market, you've put all this money into a house. What if it takes forever to sell? I don't know. Let's talk about it a little bit. So house flippers, if you're familiar with shows on HGTV, which is, I do watch HGTV, you probably are familiar with the concept of flipping a house. So investors purchase a property that is outdated or a little run down and motivate or renovate the property to make it move-in ready, ultimately selling it for hopefully more than the cost to purchase and remodel the property. And then I've watched some of the shows, and what happens sometimes is they run into issues they didn't know they had. I mean, it could be a problem with the foundation. It could be all kinds of things that happen. Now, Rocket Mortgage notes many successful house flippers operate on a 70% rule. Now, what does a 70% rule mean? Meaning They will determine their maximum offer price as 70% of the estimated after renovation value of the house, minus the cost of repairs. Now, house flippers commonly aim to flip a house within 6 months or a year to cut down on operating and holding expenses. While cash buyers franchises may flip houses, there are also many independent local companies that are likely to have the ability to make a deal happen fast by offering cash to a homeowner. That's probably where I would go if I were going to do something like that. Many individual homeowners with some contracting experiences will flip houses as well, but their cash reserves make a purchase and renovation without financing is something you're less likely to come across unless they have investors backing them up. Now, the buy and hold investors, I'm very unfamiliar with this one right here, so let's talk about it. Another type of investor you're likely to come across is one who will purchase your property and keep it to rent out to tenants. Okay, that's what we had when we moved from Charlotte. Again, we were in a great area, a cul-de-sac. All the houses around were really nice. No crime rate. I mean, it was basically zero, which is good for Charlotte, North Carolina. There are some parts of Charlotte you don't want to be at in the daytime, let alone at night. But and again, the guy actually offered us $5,000 more than what we were asking for the house because he wanted us out before the end of the year. And so that was pretty remarkable. We couldn't believe it. All of our friends, when we told them we were moving, said, oh, you'll be here a couple more years because nobody's buying houses right now. They're waiting. They're sitting on their money. But Charlotte being a transit area, and if you live in a transit area, odds are something like that could happen to you as well. Now, the buy and hold investors, in many cases, they buy a house that requires some work to avoid paying top dollar and will renovate it before leasing it. Again, they're looking for folks they want to rent to, like could be executives, like in our case, high-ranking executives in Charlotte. Franchise cash buyers and real estate investment companies may be buy and hold investors, but nearly 70% of rental properties consisting of between 1 and 4 units across the U.S. are owned by individuals who own between 1 or a few properties to bring an income, according to the U.S. Census Bureau and U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's 2021 Rental Housing Finance Survey. Now, the results of which were first published in late 2022. Remember, we had COVID 2020. Like the house flippers, cash offers are certainly possible, but investors may also finance the deal, which could make the closing time longer than with an individual or a company offering cash. We knew a guy, used to go to church with a guy, and so what he would do is buy a house. He and his wife and kids would live in it. They would renovate it. They love to move. I hate moving. It's something I don't enjoy doing. But they love to move, apparently. And so they would stay in it for a year or so, and then they would sell it, move into another house. He'd have another house ready for him to be working on. As a matter of fact, when I bought my Oxford house, I got such a good deal on it. And so I had him come out and look at it as we were friends. And I said, now, is it worth what I'm going to pay for it? And he said, I'll put it to you this way. If you don't buy it, I'm buying it. So I bought it. Okay, now let's talk about, we were talking about buy and hold investors, trade-in companies. Now let's talk about lenders or brokers freeing up cash to encourage purchases. And I think this is pretty good too, because in some cases, the companies providing a kind of trade-in option are lenders or real estate brokers that purchase a buyer's existing home. So the buyer has cash to make a more competitive offer on another one. Now, William Mortgage, actually, let me rephrase this. William Ravius Mortgage is one lender offering such a program. It's called Ravius Purchase. The lender purchases a borrower's current home, and then he oversees the sale. The borrower now has the ability to act as a cash buyer for a new home, which is particularly valuable in a competitive seller's market. Never heard of this. This seems a pretty good deal right here. A type of trade-in. I can see this where somebody, they don't have their house, they've got to sell their house in order to buy another house. And they've had their house on the market and they can't sell it, or it just, for some reason or another, it's just not selling, but they find the house they want to buy. this would be a good person to contact. While there's often an additional fee or percentage of the final sale price that goes into the company providing the services, the ultimate goal for many lenders and brokers offering these types of programs is to encourage people to actively buy and sell homes. Now, the broker will benefit from the commission of being a part of two transactions, and the lender will typically provide the homeowner with his or her next mortgage. Okay, now, here's a question. This is one we all want to know. Okay, now we've been talking about all this stuff. So should you sell your home to a company? I'm sure there are variables, but let's just see. The choice to sell your home to a company is a personal one to make as circumstances vary greatly. Now, if you're looking to offload a property quickly without having to do any updates or renovations, a cash buyer, be it a franchise or independent investment company, may be the right choice. And let's go back, and we're talking about, say, a home, part of the family dies and the kids are left with it. And most of them live out of state. Not everybody lives close to their parents anymore. So they're out of state and they don't know what to do with it. They don't have time to update it. They just remember that plumbing needed to be worked on. The electricity needed to be worked on. There were just different things that needed to be worked with. And that nobody's there. They can't fly in from New York to Alabama to check it out. And this might be the way to do it. Okay, I can see where it would. And then also you wouldn't have the expenses of fixing it up. So you get an offer, could be 70% now of the value of the house, but you've got to think about how much would you be spending and your time would be involved. So I can see that being a really good option right there. Now, if your home is updated, but you still need the idea of a guaranteed fast deal, an iBuyer may be the route for you. Now, if you need cash to make yourself more competitive with other buyers to purchase your next home, a trade-in company, a lender or broker offering a trade-in service might be the right move. While a shrinking pool of iBuying companies or company layoffs may make you wary of a specific platform, keep in mind you're not required to agree to a deal before you've seen an offer. And do that. Get them to check it out and tell you what that offer would be first. Then sign on the dotted line. Anybody who makes you sign before then, tell them next. Get rid of them. Okay, so you're not required to sign the deal before the offer, and that a deal completed is still cash in your hand. Remember that. And it's also important to consider the current housing market. The higher interest rates in the last year have slowed housing market activity in many parts of the United States. And while demand outspaces supply in many areas, houses are sitting on the market longer than they were in 2021 and early 2022. Remember, houses are just going like that. If you're on the fence, consider speaking with a real estate agent, find a good one, about your potential success on the market when you also inquire with companies that could buy your house. Leave all of your options open. Look at this show over and over again. Look at this specific episode right here, okay, because this says it. And if you just want to read it, the website is realestate.usnews.com. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna, and I'm your host. It's always so good to be with you Monday through Friday from 1 to 3. And if you choose to watch us on any of the social media sites, we're here for you. Again, if you have any ideas about shows you would like me to do just a little research, just like I did for this one right here, Donna at donnasedge.com. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. Abundant Television found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And that podcast over there, thenewscasters.com. Again, thank you.